I'm not usually one for airing family stuff online, but I've been sitting on this for weeks, and it's eating me up. I need to get it out, and maybe some strangers on the internet can help me make sense of it. This is about my parents' 40th wedding anniversary party last month, and the moment my older brother Matt decided to grab the microphone and turn a celebration into something else entirely. It's long, but bear with me. It's a lot to unpack. My parents, Tom and Linda, are the kind of couple you'd see in one of those cheesy Hallmark movies, minus the over-the-top drama. They met in high school, got married young, and built a life together in our smallish town in Ohio. Dad's a retired mechanic who still tinkers with cars in the garage, and Mom's a part-time librarian who's always got a book in her hand. They're not perfect. God knows they bicker about dumb stuff like who forgot to buy milk. But they've got this quiet, steady love that's held up through 4 kids, job changes, and all the mess life throws at you. So when their 40th anniversary rolled around, us kids, me, Matt, our sister Jen, and our youngest brother Nate, wanted to throw them a big party. I'm the second oldest, 34, and I've always been the planner in the family. Jen's 32, a nurse with 2 kids, so she's busy as hell. Nate's 28, still figuring out his life, working odd jobs, and living in Mom and Dad's basement. Matt, the oldest at 37, is, well, Matt's always been the wild card. He's a contractor, runs his own business, and he's got this larger-than-life personality. Big laugh, big opinions, always the center of attention. Growing up, he was the cool older brother who'd sneak me beers at family barbecues, but also the one who'd get into screaming matches with Dad over politics or money. He's not a bad guy, but he's got a knack for stirring the pot. Planning the party was a logistical nightmare. Jen could only help so much because of her shifts. Nate kept forgetting to call the caterer, and Matt was too busy to do much beyond Venmoing me some cash for the deposit on the venue. I ended up doing most of it, booking a local community hall, hiring a caterer for a buffet, setting up a playlist of Mom and Dad's favorite oldies, and even putting together a slideshow of old photos. My wife, Sarah, helped me wrangle everyone, and we got my parents' friends, neighbors, and some extended family to RSVP. About 60 people showed up, which felt right for a couple who've spent their lives being the glue of our little community. The night of the party, everything was going great. The hall was decked out with string lights and white tablecloths, and we had a big banner that said, "Tom Linda, 40 years of love." Mom was in this sparkly blue dress she'd bought just for the occasion, and Dad kept joking that he felt underdressed in his blazer. People were mingling. The food was a hit. Thank God, because the caterer was a last-minute swap. And the slideshow had everyone tearing up over grainy photos of Mom and Dad in the 80s with their awful perms and bell-bottoms. I was running around making sure the bar was stocked and the DJ didn't play anything too cheesy. But I could see Mom and Dad glowing. They were holding hands, laughing with their old high school buddies, and slow dancing to Unchained Melody like nobody else was in the room. Then came the toasts. We'd planned for a few people to speak, me, Jen, and Dad's brother, Uncle Mike. I went first, keeping it short and sweet. I talked about how Mom and Dad taught us what commitment looks like, how they'd always been there for us, even when we didn't make it easy. Jen went next, and she got everyone laughing with a story about how Mom once grounded her for sneaking out, but then snuck her ice cream later that night. Uncle Mike told some corny jokes about Dad's old pickup truck and how he knew Linda was the one when she didn't complain about the broken AC on their first road trip. It was all warm, heartfelt, Exactly what you'd want for a night like this. Then Matt stood up. I didn't even notice him at first. He'd been hanging out by the bar, knocking back whiskeys with his buddies from work. But suddenly, there he was, striding across the room, grabbing the microphone from the DJ stand. He wasn't on the list of speakers, but that's Matt. He doesn't wait for permission. "Let's toast to Mom and Dad," he boomed, his voice cutting through the chatter. Everyone turned, smiling, expecting another sweet speech. I was standing near the back with Sarah, and I remember thinking, "Okay, Matt, don't make this about you." He's got a history of turning family events into his personal stage, like the time he gave a 10-minute speech at Jen's wedding about his own business success. But I figured he'd say something nice, maybe a quick anecdote, and pass the mic back. 40 years, he started, raising his glass. That's something else, isn't it? Most people don't make it half that long. Hell, I didn't make it half that long. A few people chuckled, probably thinking of Matt's messy divorce a couple years back. His ex, Kelly, got tired of his long hours, and if we're being honest, his tendency to act like he's always right. I glanced at Mom, who was smiling politely, but I could tell she was bracing herself. She knows Matt too well. But seriously, Matt went on, let's toast to the real secret of their marriage. To keeping things locked down, sweeping the tough stuff under the rug, and putting on a good show for the rest of us. The room went quiet, like pin drop quiet. I felt my stomach twist. What the hell was he doing? See, growing up in this family wasn't all sunshine and roses, he said, his voice getting louder, like he was warming up to a performance. We all know the stories we don't talk about, like how Dad worked 80-hour weeks at the shop to keep the lights on, and Mom was left raising 4 kids on her own, or how they fought like hell when they thought we were asleep. But they stuck it out, didn't they? Gotta respect that. Gotta respect the grit it takes to pretend everything's fine. People were shifting in their seats now. Mom's smile was gone, and Dad's face was unreadable, his jaw tight. Jen was staring at Matt like she wanted to strangle him, and Nate was just looking at the floor, probably wishing he could disappear. I wanted to run up and yank the mic out of his hand, but I was frozen, hoping he'd stop before it got worse. He didn't. Let's be real, Matt continued, swaying a little, definitely feeling the whiskey. Marriage isn't some fairy tale. It's compromise. It's sacrifice. It's Dad giving up his dreams of owning his own shop because he had mouths to feed. It's Mom biting her tongue when she wanted to leave but didn't because of us kids. It's 40 years of choosing to stay, even when it's hard, even when it hurts. So here's to them, for sticking it out, for faking it till they made it. The room was dead silent now. Mom looked like she'd been slapped, her eyes shiny with tears she was trying to hold back. Dad's hand was gripping hers so tight his knuckles were white. I could see Aunt Carol whispering to Uncle Mike, and some of Mom's friends from church looked like they didn't know where to put their faces. Sarah grabbed my arm and whispered, "Do something." But I didn't know what to do. This was supposed to be a celebration, not whatever this was. Matt raised his glass higher. "To Tom and Linda," he said, "for showing us that love isn't perfect, but it's stubborn. Cheers." He took a big swig, and a few people half-heartedly raised their glasses, but most just sat there, stunned. Then he handed the mic back to the DJ and walked off toward the bar like nothing had happened. I don't even remember what happened right after that. I think the DJ started playing music again to fill the awkwardness, and people started talking in low voices, pretending it didn't happen. I went to check on Mom and Dad. Mom was trying to smile, saying, "Oh, you know, Matt, he's just passionate." But her voice was shaky. Dad just nodded and said, "Let's keep the party going." But the vibe was off for the rest of the night. People left earlier than they would have, and the dance floor never really filled up again. Later, I found Matt outside by his truck, smoking a cigarette. I was pissed, and I let him have it. "What the hell was that, man? You embarrassed them in front of everyone." He just shrugged, like it was no big deal. "I was being honest," he said. "Everyone's always pretending our family's perfect. I wanted to say something real." I told him he could have done that privately, not in front of 60 people at their anniversary party. He got defensive, said I was too caught up in keeping up appearances, and we ended up yelling at each other until Sarah dragged me back inside. The next day, I called Mom to see how she was doing. She said she and Dad had talked about it and were okay, but I could tell it still stung. She said Matt had called to apologize, but it was one of those half-assed apologies where he doubled down on just being real. Dad didn't want to talk about it at all, which is classic Dad. He'd rather fix a carburetor than deal with feelings. Jen and Nate are still mad at Matt, and the group chat's been quiet ever since. I keep replaying that moment in my head, trying to figure out why Matt thought that was okay. I get that he's been through a lot. His divorce hit him hard, and he's been drinking more than he should. Maybe he's jealous of Mom and Dad's marriage, or maybe he's just angry at the world and decided to take it out on the one night that was supposed to be about them. But it wasn't just about them. It was about all of us, the whole family, celebrating what they've built. And he turned it into his own therapy session. I'm still mad, but I'm also sad. Matt's my brother, and I know he's not a bad person. He's just messy. And I hate that this is the memory we're all left with from what should have been a perfect night. I keep wondering if I should have stopped him sooner, or if I could have planned the party better to keep him in check. Sarah says I'm overthinking it, that it's on Matt, not me. But it's hard not to feel like I let Mom and Dad down. Anyway, that's the story. I don't know what I'm looking for by posting this. Maybe just to vent, or maybe to hear from people who've dealt with family members pulling stunts like this. How do you move past something like that? How do you forgive someone who doesn't even think they did anything wrong? And how do you make sure the next family gathering doesn't turn into another disaster? Thanks for reading. I needed to get this off my chest.